Hi, welcome at your service in Caris. I am alone again at this meeting, and it may be my fault this time. I am running late. It's 11 past 11 on Monday, the 6th of April, 2026, and I have only just logged in. Now, I was writing a different message on another subject when I logged in a moment ago, and I was so busy writing this other message that I'd totally forgotten about the 11 a.m. meeting. But for the moment, I will think about one of the things that I was talking about, that I was writing about, as I'll deliver that in a slightly different message to you now. And it's the difference between working your way to salvation and doing the very same things, but instead of working your way to salvation, you're doing it as an appreciation for what God has already done for you. It can be exactly the same thing. One person can be out there telling people about Jesus, about God, so that through their effort of evangelism, they get to heaven. Well, that's trying to get to heaven in your own strength, trying to get to heaven in works. You might be doing a godly thing, but it's you in your effort trying to get to heaven. The other might be a person doing exactly the same thing, out there telling others about God, about Jesus. And I'd prefer to say Yeshua than Jesus anyway, but that's because there was no J in the English language until about 600, 800 years ago. And before that, it was Isus. And before Isus, it was something different again. And the transliteration came from Yeshua. And Josephus, the historian that actually wrote during his lifetime, wrote Yeshua. All the other books of the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, etc., were all written 20, 30 years after his crucifixion. And all of that, the Bible has been updated in a sense, name wise anyway. We know that the structure and emphasis of the Bible hadn't changed because of the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example. We find that the laws written in the Dead Sea Scrolls are exactly the same as the laws that we have had in the Bible when they were found, and everything else that they mentioned was the same as it was in the Bible. So the Bible itself hasn't changed, but we know that the name Jesus could not have existed at that time. There was no J, and we know that Josephus called him uh, Yeshua. And even Josephus would have been pronounced more like Josephus uh, or something like that. Uh, Now, that's not the important part. The important part is working your way to heaven compared to doing exactly the same thing to say thank you for that salvation. Well, it all depends on you and your intent. Is it a matter of you've asked God into your life, you've asked uh, Jesus into your life, Yeshua, and because of that, you want to say thank you and show your appreciation by going out and doing what he asked. It's like two people that own the same model of car. One is a poor person who is massively in debt to have an expensive car. And the other person said, "Hey, Dad, can you buy me the same make and model of car?" But that person also knows that his father expects him to show appreciation for it. So that first person is working as hard as they can to pay for that car. And the second person is merely showing appreciation for what his father gave him. Okay, you see the difference? And that's one what I was writing on. The difference between somebody trying to work their way to heaven, and we don't go to heaven anyway, because again, the Bible says paradise. Um, on the cross, when there was one person on either side of Jesus, and one looked away from him, and the other one looked to him and said, "Lord, will you save me?" or something like that. And Jesus turned to him and said, "Today you'll be with me in paradise." Not in heaven, paradise. And we know there are other references where it says that Jesus went to hell for 3 days. So paradise could therefore be a part of hell. Um, but hell might have been referring to as in the grave, etc., as well. So there's a little bit of conjecture there. I cannot say that I've been looking into it, so therefore that's just a vague thing coming from me. However, what I'm looking at again is the difference between someone who is out there evangelizing and someone who is out there evangelizing. Seems the same to me. No. Again, one person is doing it merely because by doing things for God, you'll get to heaven. And the other person is saying, "Oh, God, thank you very much. I just want to show you some appreciation. What is it you want me to do?" "Oh, my Bible says the most important thing that I can do for you is to tell others about you." And sure, it says take care of the widows and the hungry, etc. But it says when you do these good things to explain you as the answer as to why you're doing those good things. You're not doing the good things to work your way to heaven. You're doing the good things and looking for opportunities to express God. So even though helping the needy is important, what's more important is the opportunities within that to express God to them. And I see so many people out in charities, etc., and all they're doing is, serving up dishes, etc., and they never talk about God or anything like that, or they might be handing out food at a food pantry place and they're never telling people about God or anything like that. And it's like they go home and they've done their duty for God, but they haven't expressed God to anyone. They've done the minor part of the expectation, but in their mind, duty, because they don't really understand or have not really got that full relationship with God to even comprehend that It's not a duty, it's merely what comes after as an appreciation because the first person, I don't know if I said this earlier in this or because I've just written this, I might not have even said this. One person's poor but drives an expensive car because they're in massive debt to buy it. And the other person went and asked their wealthy father who gave them the car, but that father expects them to show appreciation by doing things. Well, that's the situation we're in. If you've been saved, God expects you to stand up for Him and to express Him to the world. Ideally, firstly, by helping them out, and then saying, look, God wants you to know how you can have a wonderful life. And yes, it's a wonderful life. God doesn't make it a wonderful life by taking away all the bad circumstances around you. The circumstances may not change. In fact, you can become the um, catalyst to change those bad circumstances through having God in your life. I'll get to that in a moment. But God changes you within those bad circumstances. If you're in a hateful environment and you get the love of God in you, then the love of God in you now can exude from you towards that hate that's all around you. You're no longer hating them back, or they're no longer hating you because you were a hateful person. If you were causing the hate, for example, and you become a loving person, chances are they're going to change and become loving back to you. If they were hateful and you are hateful in return, and God comes into your life and you become loving, they might change their attitude. It's less likely than in the first case, but they still might change their attitude and become loving because of your change and God changing you. So, God might not make you a billionaire. In fact, God doesn't promise to make anyone a billionaire. God promises to take care of their needs, but not their earthly worldly desires, because your earthly worldly desires are sinful to start off with. I'm not going to go there right now, but if it is more than needs, if it's I want because I want to look rich and famous and I want to be famous, I want this for me, I want whatever. The I want is putting yourself before God. The I anything. The I want, I need, the I think, the I say this, but I am important. I need to be heard. Whatever, doesn't matter. I'm not saying this because I need to be heard. I don't care. I would be just as happy walking off and, reading the Bible or something and doing nothing. I'm not doing this because I need to be heard. In fact, I was asocial before coming back to God about a year or so ago. I did not want to talk to people. I did not want to go out in society. I would just sit at home and watch TV and do nothing. I would not communicate like this with you or anything. I had no, I just had a couple of members of family that I would communicate with, and that is it. And, I would avoid communication as much as possible. But God came back into my life. I'd backslidden for 23 years and pushed me around as God does. If you know God, you know what I mean. Again, charis. And if you know what I've spoken about, you know what I mean. So God comes in and says, right, well, you're going to do this and this and this. And it's like, okay, who am I to argue? I mean, I am merely doulos. So what's the difference? One is trying to work their way to heaven because they are in control of their life. And what else will we notice about them? If somebody says something about them, they will get hurt and they will um, be upset because they are important. They are an evangelist. They, this, they, that, whatever it is. Yeah. I'm going to get back out there very soon. I've been saying that for a little bit of a while. Um, but I've allowed distractions to come in, and those distractions haven't necessarily been a bad thing because they've reset my mind to a few other things that I need to work on. Hence why I was writing, etc. as well. Now, beyond that, okay, we also have um, many mentions in the Bible of how you can't get to heaven or paradise. Um, you can't be saved by works, but by faith in the sacrifice that Yeshua made on the cross. Whereas you've got to remember also in James 2, the entire chapter talks about comparing works to faith. And um, he says that you're saying that you have faith in the works that you do to get you to heaven, and that you um, are doing it, that you can't get to heaven by works. It must be by faith. And James says within the chapter and over and over and over again that I am showing my faith in God by the works I do. I am doing the same works as people trying to work their way to heaven. Again, paradise. But I'm just showing my faith because my Father, in the relationship I have with Him, compels me to do these good things. I mean, wow. I'm not doing anything because it's going to get me to heaven. I'm just doing whatever He says because He says it. Full stop. That's it. So, He's done so much for me. I just got to say thank you. And that's what James was getting at in chapter 2. Where are you at? Are you doing anything to get to heaven? Or maybe you think you're not. Maybe you think you're the second person saying, well, thank you, Father. I'm just showing you my appreciation. We'll find out which one's which. If somebody says something nasty about you, what do? If somebody gives you trouble, What do you do? Oh, they said something nasty about me. I'm hurt. Well, they're attacking me. I'm being attacked. The focus there is me, myself. I'm the God of my life here. Whereas maybe another person might look at the same situation and say, okay, you've been attacking, so I must have done something to hurt you or harm you. I don't know what that might be. I'm sorry if I've done something. Can I discuss it with you and find out what's up? So, you know, once I've done that, maybe I can tell you about God and the reason I want to talk things out rather than just hurt you back like the person that's trying to do it by works. Same evangelist in both cases, but what happens when they're being attacked? Well, there's a third case. Oh, it's the devil attacking me. It's probably your first person as well. The, oh, I'm so holy and everything that the devil attacks me. Please. You've most likely missed the point. You've most likely, you're most likely blaming circumstances which are natural circumstances or circumstances that you may even have caused on the devil. You may have said something about someone that you thought was just and they thought was unjust and they've attacked you back and it's, oh, that's the devil coming at me when it was your fault all along. We don't know. I don't know. All I know is there is a massive difference in the same action. It's all to do with the intent of the heart and who's ruling the heart. If God's ruling your heart, when somebody does something against you, first thing you're going to do is, in a sense, take pity on them, as in, oh, I'm sorry that I must have hurt you, or something like that. Let's find out what that is and see what I can do to fix it. And um, you don't say it up front, but later it's like, great, so we've got a good relationship now. Okay, not a problem. Can I tell you about God? I mean, it's having God in my life is the reason that I've approached this the way that I have. You see, before I had God, I would have probably attacked you uh, out of feeling upset from you attacking me because I would have seen it as you attacking me. I wouldn't have stopped and asked if I did something wrong in the first case or anything like that. I just would have seen it as an attack and attacked you back. But now that I've got God in my life, I look at things differently. I realize that people get upset because I make mistakes. I realize that I'm a person that makes mistakes, that I'm not I haven't got an ego that's so massive that I think I don't make mistakes. It's not me ruling my heart, and therefore I'm perfect, and therefore any attackers because you're a nasty person and I'm a wonderful person. No, I don't have the wonderful person in there. I just have God in there. I don't know if what I'm saying is coming across the way I want to say it, but I'm hoping that you at least understand what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. Same person, same action, same event, totally different outcomes and totally different methods. If you've got you in your heart instead of God, you're likely to be offended or upset or whatever when a slight bit of trouble comes along. If you've got God in your life, you are learning to let go of yourself and you are learning to, oh, okay, let me fix whatever the problem is. Have that kind of attitude. Doesn't happen overnight. But if you see that a person is starting to learn that attitude, God's in their life, most likely, at least anyway. And if they're still always offended and hurt if something goes wrong, or they've got needs, or they want this and they want that, or whatever it is, the me in their life. Well, even if they said a sinner's prayer, it probably meant nothing. It was probably, oh, I'll get myself a ticket to heaven by saying a sinner's prayer. A sinner's prayer is just a ticket. Whether you get on that train to heaven once you've got the ticket is a different story. A sinner's prayer is a ticket. You're still standing in the station. Getting you out of your life and getting God into your life and doing what God asks is getting on that train and taking that train journey. And you can get off at any station on the way and go, forget it, I don't want to go all the way to paradise. I can see out there there's stuff in the world that I want. So I'm going to go chase that. Well, once you're off the train, you're not on your way. You're back in the world. Okay, so I must have taken half an hour. I started late, I'm not sure. Um, Again, as always, rate this message out of 10. If it was good, give it a high number. If it was poor, give it a low number. If it was a good message, post it on your page so your followers can see. Email it to people. Get it out there. Any message that you find is a good message, get it out to others. Otherwise, let us know where you're at. If you're a new Christian, we can help you grow. If you haven't found your call, hopefully we can help you find your call. If you've found your call, hopefully we can help you train in that call. We haven't really done much in these areas yet, but it's really early stages for this group, so we haven't really got the experience yet either. But as I say this, um, you never know. You might be watching this 2, 3 years later, and we might have been doing this for hundreds of people at this stage and put people into ministry of different kinds. Wherever you're at, we can help you go further if we know where you're at. We need the communication. We can't help anyone that doesn't communicate. Okay, bless you, Governor Mel in Caris.